And by the way,
law and order crime.
107 days, way too many for anybody, but including her.
Right.
But the more they got to know her, the less they liked her. I've said this many times on this show. Other countries don't do this. They don't have years to run. They call an election, and they have an election in a month.
Yeah, and nor the influence of money. We should do that. Right?
Yeah, that's going to be hard to get rid of. They've tried.
Yeah.
But, it's like you don't need 100 days. You need 107 days. You tell people your plan. This is what I am for. This is my thing. You're selling something. You're selling a vacuum cleaner. If I'm selling a vacuum cleaner, I'll tell you why I think it's best. Am I going to tell you every goddamn day for 2 years? Did I tell you about the attachment that gets under the... Yeah, you did. You told me 1,000 times.
Kamala Harris just released a brand new book, and predictably, the political world is buzzing. But not because it's a brilliant work of leadership or filled with bold solutions Americans want to hear. No, it's because once again, she's making excuses, rewriting history, and hoping people buy her revisionist story. And Bill Maher? He wasn't having any of it. On live TV, Maher dove straight in and absolutely shredded her arguments. And honestly, he wasn't wrong.
Harris keeps circling back to one magic number, 107 days. That's how long she claims she had to make her case to voters before her campaign fell apart. According to her, that wasn't enough time. Sounds convincing until you actually think about it. Maher's response was brutal but true. He said you don't need 2 years to tell people who you are or what you stand for. You just need a clear plan and real communication. He compared it to selling a vacuum cleaner, saying, if it's the best on the market, I don't need to repeat my pitch for months.
The violence and the crime, people just getting away with it, cashless bail, whatever. I want to see law and order, and I think that would be helpful.
Well, apropos to that, I'll bring up one last subject. Somebody didn't write this, but I want to say it because it's interesting. Some new polling came out, and this is really, I'm speaking to the Democrats especially here, because Trump's numbers are down. They're down with Latinos, they're down with blacks, they're down 15 points with whites. And when whites say, you're not hip anymore, ooh. And yet, in the other poll, on issues, Trump's still winning. So this is your big opportunity, Democrats. He's down in the numbers, and you still can't score.
So what exactly are Democrats doing with this golden opportunity to prove they can lead better? Are they tackling inflation, securing the border, or offering credible foreign policy solutions? Nope. Instead, they're doubling down on culture wars that only play well inside their social media bubble. They're obsessing over Donald Trump like he's the sun, the moon, and the stars while ignoring the real problems voters care about. That's why Maher's critique hits so hard. He said Democrats are fumbling the ball, the other team's on the ropes, and somehow they still can't score. On the big issues, crime, immigration, the economy, foreign conflicts, Republicans are dominating. Democrats are barely holding on to their reputation for protecting democracy, and even that edge is slipping.
When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid. 2 points on respect for democracy. Democrats win on healthcare, environment, women's rights, respect for democracy. But on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption.
This isn't just about poll numbers. It's about identity. For decades, Democrats were known as the defenders of democracy and the voice of the everyday American. But now, thanks to endless virtue signaling, identity politics, and internal fighting, voters simply don't believe that anymore. The party has become a circular firing squad. Everyone's attacking each other, chasing social media applause, and ignoring real priorities. As a result, people don't trust them. They see a party that stands for nothing except opposing Donald Trump. That's not leadership, That's desperation.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No, you didn't.
I'd like to...
I'll say a lot of lies on this show, but I will not accept
I thought you might ask me about it. That's why I had to read it. But the point is, it's like, as you probably know, it's like a diary of what happened. But I was looking for, okay, and what's the plan for the future? There wasn't any, and she's just indicative of the party at large.
Harris blames the short campaign timeline, rewrites her past positions, and suddenly claims to oppose policies she once supported. She's even trying to distance herself from Joe Biden after years of refusing to challenge him when it actually mattered. And then there's the bombshell about Pete Buttigieg. In her book, Harris admits she didn't pick him as a running mate because he's gay. That's not speculation, those are her words. But when Rachel Maddow pressed her on it, Harris immediately backtracked, saying, "That's not what I meant." She literally denied what she wrote in her own book. That's the kind of contradiction that destroys credibility.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president, you're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president, to say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay, it's hard to hear.
No, that's not what I said, that he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for President of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for President of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
And that's the fatal flaw. If you can't even stand by your own book, why should anyone trust you to stand by your policies? Every contradiction drags her deeper, every excuse makes her weaker, and voters can see right through it. People aren't stupid, they can spot insincerity a mile away. Harris's rebrand feels less like leadership and more like political survival. She's not rebuilding, she's damage controlling. And that never inspires confidence.
And by the way,
law and order crime.
107 days, way too many for anybody, but including her.
Right.
But the more they got to know her, the less they liked her. I've said this many times on this show. Other countries don't do this. They don't have years to run. They call an election, and they have an election in a month.
Yeah, and nor the influence of money. We should do that. Right?
To be fair, she does seem to be stepping back from the woke positions that tanked her career. On paper, that looks like progress. But instead of owning up to her mistakes and saying, "I got caught up in the culture wars and lost touch with regular Americans," she's pretending she never supported those stances at all. That's not honesty, that's gaslighting. If she truly wanted to rebuild trust, she'd start with brutal honesty, admit where she went wrong, break with the woke crowd, and lay out a real plan for the future. But she won't. She's still rewriting the past, playing the blame game, and hoping people forget. Spoiler alert, they won't.
And by the way, that's one of the reasons she lost.
She's rewriting history in the book, too. She's now against men and women's sports. Like, come on. Like, they tried to dismantle Title IX against women when she was vice president.
Right. I mean, that's just one of many examples.
She could have
where-
had 701 days and would have still lost that race.
But you're right. The
whole
data says it's cost of living, it's inflation, it's immigration, illegal immigration, all those things. Everything else is at the bottom.
Idzie even worse.
When asked why she supported radical candidates like Zoran Mandy in New York, her response said everything. She didn't endorse him for his ideas or leadership, just because he's a Democrat. That's it. Party loyalty over principles. No wonder voters are tuning out. When the only qualification for office is having the right letter next to your name, it's a clear sign the party has lost its moral compass and its soul.
What do you think of him and his candidacy? And what do you think of mainline Democratic shyness and agitation about the prospect that he's going to win?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, he's the Democratic nominee and he should be supported.
Do you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race.
Now Harris is suddenly criticizing Biden on inflation, immigration, foreign policy, and more. But where was that honesty when she was vice president? Where was that courage when she had actual power to influence decisions? Instead, she played it safe, stayed silent, and clung to Biden's shadow. Now that she's out of office and it's politically convenient, she's found her voice. But at this point, it's too little, too late.
She decided for some reason now would be the time, instead of when she was actually running for president, to say all the ways in which she disagreed with Joe Biden or all the bad things she thought about the Biden team. Great. Okay. I'm here for it, sister. Go. I believe every word, by the way. So it's really been super fun to watch the circular firing squad amongst the Dems. Usually they're a little better about holding their discipline on that. It's usually the Republicans who do all the infighting. So I'm thrilled to see it, and I really can't wait until her next appearance. I can't wait to hear what she has to say next.
At the end of the day, Harris's book doesn't inspire confidence or show growth. It doesn't prove she's ready for a political comeback. Instead, it confirms what voters already suspected. Kamala Harris is a politician without a core. She doesn't take bold stances, doesn't offer real solutions, and doesn't even stand by her own words. That's why she lost in 2024. And why she's struggling to regain trust now.
That's going to be hard to get rid of. They've tried. But, no, it's like you don't need 100 days. You don't need 107 days. You tell people your plan. This is what I am for. This is my thing. You're selling something. You're selling a vacuum cleaner. If I'm selling a vacuum cleaner, I'll tell you why I think it's best. Am I going to tell you every goddamn day for 2 years? Did I tell you about the attachment that gets under the... Yeah, you did.
So where does this leave the Democratic Party? Honestly, at a crossroads. They can keep clinging to anti-Trump hysteria and culture wars, or they can wake up and actually focus on what matters: crime, the economy, immigration, and foreign policy. Because right now, Republicans are dominating those conversations, and voters are noticing. As Bill Maher put it, if Democrats can't win when Trump's numbers are down and the country's struggling, maybe the party isn't just losing an election. Maybe it's losing its soul.
So what do you think?
Is Kamala Harris's new book just another excuse-filled flop? Can Democrats turn things around before it's too late? Or are we watching the slow-motion collapse of a party that's forgotten what it stands for?